Greetings to everybody. The topic for today's teaching is modal verbs. This is the part of the verb. Of course, its role is limited, but when it comes to speaking, in communication, in spoken language, in interactive session, modal verbs play significant role. And this is the area which is the most confusing, most discouraging sometimes, and it is a challenging area to many speakers across the globe, because we are all non-native speakers. So English is not our mother tongue, particularly to the people of India. So that is why we need to go into details with regard to these modal verbs, modal auxiliaries. See, what is the purpose of these modal verbs or modal auxiliaries? We have learned that a verb is the most important part among the parts of speech. We cannot imagine a sentence without a verb. If we try to frame a sentence or form a sentence without a verb, it is impossible. It is vain. So, a meaningful sentence cannot be possible without the verb. Of that verb, this is one of the branches. Verbs are mainly divided into two kinds: primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. So, we focus only on modal auxiliaries. The purpose of these modal auxiliary verbs is to indicate the mood of the speaker, the modality of the speaker. Imagine we are all listeners. With what mood the speaker speaks, with what mood a particular, or with what mode and mood a particular speaker uses a modal auxiliary is understood only with the help of these modal auxiliaries used by the speaker. In other words, we can say the intention of the speaker, or the mind of the speaker, or the mode of the speaker can be understood, can be possible to understand the mode and intention and the mind of the speaker only through these modal auxiliaries, these modalities. So it is also called modality or modal auxiliaries. So this intention, the intention of the speaker might be the probability, to express the probability of an action, or to convey the possibility of action, or to state the less probability of an action, or to give assurance about some action, or to stress the obligation of somebody, or to remind the responsibility of a person, or to talk about or to give a piece of advice, no matter what it is. But whether it is a probability or possibility or less possibility, obligation or responsibility or advice, whatever it is understood only through the modal auxiliary the speaker has used. So when if it is used properly by the speaker who is good at the use of these modal auxiliaries, then the mode of the speaker and the mind of the speaker can be understood. So if it is used carelessly, the meaning is misunderstood. The meaning cannot be reached in the proper way. That's why this is one of the most important areas which needs to be focused, which needs to be mastered, which is one of the important ones where we need to get mastery over this particular topic. Because these modal verbs are typical ones. See, the purpose of these is just to convey the intention or the mind of the speaker. Because these modal auxiliaries have different roles. They play different roles. Sometimes Different 2 or 3 modal auxiliaries can be used for the same purpose, but intensity varies. So sometimes to express the intensity or the importance of the situation, to make the listeners understand the gravity of the situation or the need of the hour, we raise our voice. We stress sometimes, or we can repeat the same sentence. But when it comes to modal auxiliaries, instead of stressing the word we utter, instead of repeating the same sentence for the second time or third time, there is an alternative modal auxiliary which conveys the best intention of the speaker. So this is the performance of the modal auxiliary. Usually, these modal auxiliaries are peculiar, different. They are different from other auxiliary group. Other auxiliary group is primary auxiliaries. Just if we see primary auxiliaries, they play 2 roles, as an auxiliary verb and as a main verb. In the presence of the main verb, the primary auxiliaries help as auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. In the absence of the main verbs, these primary auxiliaries play the role of main verbs. But when it comes to modal auxiliaries, they always help the main verb. They cannot form the sentences on their own. Their job is only to assist the main verbs. They cannot form a sentence or frame a sentence on their own. They always support and assist the main verbs. So peculiar thing. So if you try to form a sentence without the association, without the presence of the main verb, it is meaningless. It is not acceptable in grammar. It is grammatically inaccurate. It will be inaccurate. It will be a flaw. So that is why it is a strange one, which is associated with the main verb. And another peculiarity is these modal auxiliaries take any subject before them. Okay, regarding other verbs, according to the subject, the verb gets changed. That's what we call, concord in grammar. It is an agreement between the subject and the verb. But when it comes to modal auxiliaries, it doesn't get changed. No matter whether the subject is first person or singular or plural, second person singular or plural, third person singular or plural, but it is the same. It remains unchanged. So modals take any subject before them. There is no subject-verb agreement rule. So there is no subject agreement rule. We can use any subject, singular or plural, proper noun or common noun, no matter it is. And another typical thing is, no 2 modal auxiliaries co-occur in a sentence. Once a modal auxiliary is used in a sentence, that's enough. But we happen to hear some people use 2 modal auxiliaries side by side, but it is against the rule. No 2 modal auxiliaries can be used side by side together in a sentence. It is grammatically not acceptable. And we hear some people say, you must and should do this work. I understand with what intention have they used, but grammatically it is not acceptable. When the speaker uses, you must and should do this, in the sight of the speaker, this is very, very important. This is the most prominent. That is why 2 modals are used side by side, but it is wrong. So no 2 modals co-occur in a sentence. Either you use must or you use should, but don't use you must and should do this work, you must and should learn this. This is grammatically not acceptable. This is another peculiarity. And another peculiarity of this modal auxiliary is the main verb will always be V1, that is the base form or the root verb or the first form of the. Whether you use may or might, can or could, will or would, shall or should, followed by the first form of the verb, not the second form, not the third form. With this modal auxiliary, immediately after that, there must be the first form of the. This is another peculiarity. And so these are the strange features and characteristics of these modal auxiliaries. Okay, when it comes to the total number of these modal auxiliaries are 13. Okay, these 13 belong to one group, but within them there is a division. Among them there is a division, that is a classification is there because of two modal auxiliaries. So, what are those two divisions? One is first division. First group is fully modal auxiliaries, 100% modal auxiliaries. There is no doubt about this. And the list is mentioned here: can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, ought to, used. These 11 modal auxiliaries are fully modal auxiliaries. To the core, they are modal auxiliaries. And the last separated two modal auxiliaries, they are semi-modals. You know, semi-modals. Why are they called semi-modals? Because semi means half. They have the features of modal auxiliaries 50%, and remaining 50% of their features are of main verbs. So they play double roles: the role of main verb and the role of modal auxiliary, so that they are called semi-modals. Okay, what are they? Dare and need. And these above 11 modal auxiliaries are also called defective verbs. They are also called defective verbs. Grammarians call them defective verbs. Why are they called defective verbs? They are not only defective and affective verbs. Why are they called defective? On what grounds are they stamped? Are they called defective verbs? The first reason why they are called defective verbs: these verbs do not follow the rule of taking yes or es when the subject is in third person singular or singular. Usually in tenses, whenever the subject is in third person singular like he, she, it, the verb takes either s or es or ies. This is a rule we learn in tenses, particularly in simple present tense. So, it doesn't follow that rule. Even if you use he or she or it, no adding of s or es. This is the first one. And it does not form infinitive. It doesn't have infinitive. Infinitive just like 2 plus V1. We say sing to sing, swim to swim, speak to speak. We can have infinitive with regard to other verbs. But when it comes to these modal auxiliaries, there is no infinitive for them. And this is always plain and no infinitive structure. And the third feature why it is called a defective verb is it doesn't take ing form, that is in form. Usually the main verbs take ing form. Go plus ing, going. Sing plus ing, singing. Speak plus ing, speaking. But we cannot say can plus ing, canning. May plus ing, weighing. It doesn't exist. So that is why they are called defective verbs. Some grammarians call them defective verbs. Even though they belong to the family of the verbs, there are some defects. So they are called defective verbs. And they affect the rules of the defect, that is the verbs. So they are defective